know that color can impact the look and feel of a room? Hi everyone, it's interior designer Carol Gilman. Let's discover interior design. Well, in this video, I'm going to share 7 interior design tips, including how color can impact the look and feel of a room, and how you can keep these in mind when you want to design a room and design your home so that it looks and feels great and so that it is harmonious. One of the first interior design tips that I want to share with you is, in addition to the size of furniture, also keep in mind how those pieces of furniture relate to one another. What we're talking about here is the design principle of scale and proportion. So when we have furniture in our room that relates to one another, that they make sense with one another, it helps to create a cohesive look. There may be a reason to have one piece of furniture maybe stand out a bit more. Maybe it's a larger scale, and maybe it's a focal area, or it's just there to add variety. But if there isn't a good reason to have a piece of furniture that is in a larger scale, that could really throw off the balance in the room, and it could look really out of place. In general, it's nice when we can have different pieces of furniture in a room that kind of make sense to each other in regards to scale, just how those sizes relate to one another. So for example, if you want to buy a new piece of furniture for a room, take a look at your existing furniture and how all those pieces of furniture are relating to one another in a certain size and scale. And then try to find a piece of furniture in a similar size and scale. So for instance, if all of the furniture in your room is on a larger scale, or on the opposite side where it's maybe more refined and delicate, look for a new piece of furniture that will just match that existing look and feel that you have going on in the room. And my second interior design tip for you is to bring in a variety of textures into a room to create more depth. And we are talking about the design element of texture and how that's an important element to help create a more interesting room. Because when we add layers of different types of texture in a room, it creates more dimension and depth, and also creates more variety. And when you are looking to bring something else into a room, something new, like a new piece of furniture or new materials or new other types of furnishings, take a look at what textures you have going on in the room, and then think about bringing in something new, a new contrasting texture. And then that way your room will be much more interesting. And tip number 3 is leaving open areas is just as important as placing items there. And what we are talking about here is the design element of space and also the design principle of balance. So for example, when you're arranging furniture or even placing artwork or wall decor in your room, and when you're deciding where you're going to place things, we'll call that positive space, as well as where you're not going to place things, which we refer to as negative space or white space. It's nice if we can try to create a balance between filled in areas and open areas. Those open areas give us a chance to pause. They also can help create more emphasis on something that is filled in, such as artwork on the wall. And it also helps to ensure that a piece of furniture or a room is functional, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So one thing you can keep in mind is when you are planning out a room with furniture or wall decor is to plan where you're going to place everything, but then also plan some space around those different items before you place something else in that area. And my 4th interior design tip has to do with the design principle of rhythm. And that is, establish a rhythm in your room by repeating colors, shapes, or patterns. The reason why we would want to do this is that it helps to guide our eyes throughout a room, helping to create a nice flow Plus, it helps us to kind of connect everything in a room and contributes to a cohesive look. One way to create a nice rhythm in your room, a nice flow in a room, is just to repeat colors. And you can repeat colors in different variations, like lighter and darker versions, or in patterns or solid versions, and disperse them in different areas of your room. And then that way it helps to create a nice connection, a nice cohesive look to a space. And my fifth interior design tip is choose colors based on the feeling that you want to create in a room. And this is where we're talking about the design element of color. Color has a very large psychological impact on how a room will look and feel. And when we choose colors that are going to create a certain look and feel, a certain mood to a room, we're going to feel better about that, and we are going to enjoy that room even more. When you want to create a certain feel in a room, there are certain colors that you can go to help you do that. Some general guidelines are, if you want to create a room that has lots of energy to it, look to those warm colors of reds, oranges, and yellows. And if you want to create a more calm look, start with colors like blues, greens, and purples. And a quick question for you: if you're going to create a nice calming look for a baby's nursery, which blue would you choose? Either A or B. Share your choice in the comments. Interior design tip number 6 has to do with space. And that is, before you buy a new piece of furniture, find out how much space around that piece of furniture that it will need. And when we are talking about furniture, we need to think about what size of the furniture is and where we're going to place it in a room. But we also need to make sure that we set aside some space around it, and that could be referred to as clearance around it. And we need to do this because we need to be able to easily access that piece of furniture, or maybe move around that piece of furniture. For example, in a living room, it's nice if we can leave 12 to 18 inches in between our sofa and the coffee table, just so we can easily get in and out of there and also easily access anything on the coffee table. Then in a bedroom, it's nice if we can leave 30 to 36 inches at the foot or end of the bed so that we can easily walk by the bed. And then my last interior design tip for you is, when you place a piece of art above a piece of furniture, place it close enough so that it connects to that piece of furniture and that arrangement. And we are talking about a couple of different things in this interior design tip. We are covering balance and space and even harmony. One thing that's important to think about is that when we place a piece of artwork above a piece of furniture, we want to create some sort of connection to that piece of furniture or to that grouping or arrangement of furniture. And if we don't do that, that artwork is going to feel disconnected and it's not going to feel part of this entire arrangement. And one measurement that you can keep in mind is when you want to place artwork above your sofa. What I would do is just leave 11 to 12 inches in between the top of your sofa back to the bottom of the wall decor or artwork on the wall. And then that way the artwork or wall decor is close enough to the sofa so that it becomes part of that entire arrangement. And if you want to learn more about any of these interior design tips, I have videos that cover these topics in more depth. So I will leave the links to those videos in this video's description, as well as some playlists. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.